Team 30 of 52 teams of 8. Help make America wiser and kinder with antique rival wisdom team quotes that have passed the test of time to make humanity great with words of wisdom to encourage, educate, and entertain generations for centuries. Give your kids free easy extra advantage math, spelling, and reading workbooks you can download for free at stop2think.com. Free easy math wisdom workbooks with Octo-Repetition to grow math self-confidence. Free easy alpha Cypher coded puzzles teach letters, numbers, and phrases using antique wisdoms that encourage and educate. And since time is money, practice reading faster with 52 teams of antique rival wisdoms that have passed the test of time to encourage, educate, and entertain generations for centuries. Team quote 30.1. Variety's the very spice of life that gives it all its flavor. William Cooper 1731–1800. This is a famous quote from William Cooper's 1785 poem The Task, specifically from Book 2, The Timepiece. The line expresses the idea that having variety and diversity in life is what makes it interesting and enjoyable, just as spices enhance the flavor of food, different experiences and changes enhance the quality of life. Cooper's metaphor comparing variety to spice was particularly apt for his 18th-century audience, as spices were highly valued for their ability to transform bland food into something more enjoyable. The comparison suggests that a life without variety would be like food without seasoning, technically sustaining, but lacking in richness and enjoyment. This sentiment has become proverbial, often referenced to advocate for trying new things, embracing change, or celebrating diversity in various contexts, from personal experiences to cultural diversity. It reflects a timeless human understanding that monotony can lead to boredom, while novelty and change can make life more meaningful and interesting. Team quote 30.2. Be true to your work, your word, and your friend. Henry David Thoreau 1817–1862. This quote by Thoreau encapsulates core principles of personal integrity and authenticity. Let's break down its three key elements. Be true to your work. This speaks to professional integrity and dedication. It means doing your best in whatever you undertake, not cutting corners, and maintaining high standards regardless of whether anyone is watching. Be true to your word. This addresses personal honesty and reliability. When you make a promise or commitment, keep it. Your word should be your bond, and others should be able to trust what you say. Be true to your friend. This speaks to loyalty and authentic relationships. It means being a genuine and reliable friend, standing by people in both good times and bad, and maintaining honest and faithful friendships. The quote is particularly meaningful coming from Thoreau, who was known for his emphasis on living deliberately and with principle. Throughout his life and writings, particularly in Walden, he stressed the importance of authenticity and living according to one's values rather than social conventions. By linking these three aspects, work, word, and friendship, Thoreau suggests that integrity isn't compartmentalized but should be consistent across all areas of life. It's a call for holistic authenticity in both our actions and relationships. Team quote 30.3. Fortune befriends the bold. Emily Dickinson 1830–1886. This succinct and powerful quote captures the timeless idea that taking bold action often leads to favorable outcomes. While often attributed to Emily Dickinson, the sentiment actually dates back to ancient times. The Roman poet Virgil wrote, Audentes fortuna juvat, fortune favors the bold, in the Aeneid. The quote suggests that luck or success, fortune, tends to favor those who take initiative rather than waiting passively, face challenges with courage, are willing to take calculated risks, act decisively rather than hesitating. It's particularly interesting coming from Dickinson, who lived a relatively secluded life but showed tremendous boldness in her revolutionary poetic style and her willingness to tackle profound themes in her work. While she may not have been physically adventurous, she was intellectually and creatively bold. The enduring resonance of this idea, that courage and decisive action often create their own luck, has made it a touchstone for entrepreneurs, artists, leaders, and anyone facing difficult decisions or opportunities. It reminds us that while outcomes aren't guaranteed, bold action often creates possibilities that wouldn't exist otherwise. Team quote 30.4. Be slow in choosing a friend, slower in changing. Benjamin Franklin 1706 to 1790. This quote from Benjamin Franklin offers wisdom about the careful consideration we should give to friendships. Let's explore its meaning. Be slow in choosing a friend. This first part advises taking time to truly know someone before elevating them to the status of friend. It suggests carefully evaluating character over time, looking beyond first impressions, getting to know someone in different situations, not rushing into close relationships. Slower in changing. This second part is even more significant, suggesting that once you've chosen a friend, you should be even more deliberate about ending that friendship. It implies valuing loyalty and commitment, working through difficulties rather than quickly abandoning relationships, recognizing that true friendship is worth preserving, understanding that established trust is precious and not easily replaced. This advice aligns with Franklin's practical wisdom and his understanding of human nature. It recognizes both the importance of making good choices in friendship and the value of maintaining those relationships once established. The quote suggests that while we should be careful about who we let into our inner circle, we should be even more careful about letting them go. This perspective remains relevant today, perhaps even more so in an age of social media where friend connections can be made and broken with a click. Team quote 30.5. Along with success comes a reputation for wisdom. Euripides 480 BC, 406 BC. This insightful quote from the ancient Greek tragedian Euripides makes an observation about how society often equates success with wisdom. Let's unpack its layers. First, it points out that success tends to create a perception of wisdom, whether that wisdom truly exists or not. People often assume that someone who has achieved success must be wise, having figured out some deeper truths about life or their field. There's an interesting cause-and-effect ambiguity here. Do people become successful because they are wise? Do they appear wise simply because they're successful? Or does success itself provide experiences that build wisdom? The quote has a slightly ironic undertone, as Euripides was known for his skeptical view of conventional wisdom and social assumptions. He may be suggesting that this attribution of wisdom to successful people isn't always warranted, that we sometimes confuse good fortune or practical achievement with deep understanding. This observation remains remarkably relevant today, where successful business leaders, celebrities, and influencers are often treated as sages and sought out for advice on matters far beyond their actual expertise. It serves as a reminder to distinguish between genuine wisdom and the mere appearance of it that success can create. Team quote 30.6. I like the noise of democracy. James Buchanan 1791 to 1868. This quote from James Buchanan, the 15th President of the United States, is intriguing given its historical context and some irony. The noise of democracy refers to the often messy, loud, and contentious nature of democratic discourse, the debates, disagreements, protests, and public discussions that characterize a functioning democracy. The use of noise is particularly evocative, suggesting public debate and disagreement, the clamor of competing voices and ideas, the sometimes chaotic nature of democratic processes, free expression of diverse opinions. However, there's historical irony in Buchanan making this statement. His presidency, 1857 to 1861, was marked by his failure to effectively address the growing divisions over slavery that would lead to the Civil War. While he claimed to appreciate democratic discourse, his actions, or inactions, during one of America's most critical periods suggested otherwise. The quote nonetheless captures an important truth about democracy, that its noise, while sometimes uncomfortable or challenging, is actually a sign of health. In contrast to the silence of authoritarianism, democratic noise represents the active participation of citizens in their governance. This perspective remains relevant today, reminding us that the sometimes messy and loud nature of democratic discourse, while potentially frustrating, is far preferable to the alternative of enforced silence. Team quote 30.7. However big the fool, there is always a bigger fool to admire him. Nicolas Despreaux 1636 to 1711. This satirical observation by Nicolas Boileau Despreaux, often known simply as Boileau, demonstrates his wit and understanding of human nature. As a French poet and critic known for his satirical work, this quote reflects his sharp social commentary. The quote works on multiple levels. It points out how foolishness tends to attract and validate itself. It suggests there's a kind of hierarchy even among fools. It implies that foolish people often lack the self-awareness to recognize their own foolishness. It observes that people tend to seek out validation, even if that validation comes from someone even less qualified. There's also a broader commentary here about human society and the way ideas and influence spread. Even bad ideas or foolish behaviors can gain followers and admirers, creating a kind of self-reinforcing cycle of foolishness. The quote remains remarkably relevant today, particularly in the age of social media where questionable ideas or behaviors can quickly find and build an audience. It serves as a reminder to think critically about who we admire and why, and to be aware that popularity or having followers doesn't necessarily indicate wisdom or merit. Team quote 30.8. Better late than never. Matthew Henry 1662–1714. This concise proverb, attributed to Matthew Henry, though its origins likely predate him, expresses a pragmatic and forgiving attitude toward timing and accomplishment. While Henry was a well-known biblical commentator and minister, this saying reflects the practical wisdom found in his writings. The phrase suggests several important ideas. The value of persistence and follow-through, even when delayed. The importance of completing tasks or obligations, regardless of timing. An attitude of grace toward imperfect execution. Recognition that achieving a goal late is preferable to never achieving it at all. The saying has particular resonance in areas like education, returning to school later in life, personal growth and change, fulfilling commitments, making amends, pursuing delayed dreams or goals. What makes this proverb endure is its encouragement of perseverance while acknowledging human imperfection. It counters the perfectionist tendency to abandon goals entirely if they can't be achieved according to an ideal timeline. In today's fast-paced world where immediacy is often prioritized, better late than never offers a more balanced perspective on achievement and timing. If you'd like to help raise school test scores and self-confidence, you can give your kids free Easy Extra Advantage math, spelling, and reading workbooks you can download for free at stop2think.com or buy at educationstopshate.com. Free Easy Math Wisdom Workbooks with Octo-Repetition to grow math self-confidence. You'll get plenty of repetitive practice of age ranges and averages of our 52 teams of 8 quote authors. Free Easy Alpha Cypher coded puzzles teach letters, numbers, and phrases using antique wisdoms that encourage and educate. Can you decode this Cypher quote of encouragement using either our learning to spell or just for fun instructions? And since time is money, practice reading faster with 52 teams of antique rival wisdoms that have passed the test of time to encourage, educate, and entertain generations for centuries. We offer printed versions and timed videos with background music. Sign up for free weekly emails of 52 teams of antique rival wisdom workbooks with easy math, spelling, and reading practice. And, if you'd like to get paid for sharing our wearable wisdoms, keep this in mind. Everyone I know wears a shirt, and most of us change them daily, so change your shirt and change the world. Social equalities are blatantly subliminal antique positive wisdoms repetitively shared without saying a word. This applies to all our wearable shareable wisdoms. Like pretty witty baby onesies and baby tees that you and others will see and read multiple times a day. The same is true with pretty witty kids, but they'll also share these wisdoms with anyone that can read at daycare or school. Youthful truths let your kids gain confidence sharing antique wisdoms with their friends. Imagine them sharing words of wisdom with classmates and teachers. I think, therefore I think tees I wear is a super easy way to share words of wisdom that have passed the test of time. Our social equalities help make us all wiser and kinder with blatantly subliminal messages promoting a more fair and equal opportunity society for all. And don't forget our giftwisdoms.com for birthdays and holidays that makes it easy to share the wisdom with clothing, coffee mugs, and magnets. So do the future a favor by encouraging, educating, and entertaining with words of wisdom that have passed the test of time to make us all wiser and kinder. With wearable wisdoms to fit babies, kids, and adults, you can clothe a whole family, city, or state. Join the 52 of 8 today at 52of8.com.